Salute, Knicks Nation. We're here, ready to talk about this game. Frustrating loss as the New York Knicks went down in Beantown. 98 to 114 without RJ Barrett. RJ missed with migraines, and the New York Knicks battled. Even had a nice lead late in the game, but just ran out of gas and couldn't generate enough offense all night. It was tough. But no need to hang our heads because the New York Knicks are still at 500, 5 and 5 now on the season. But some things we've got to do better at, in terms of these games. We're in it, we're hanging around and we're battling, and we'll talk about it tonight. The Boston Celtics were extremely physical. The referees let it get that way. It got a little out of hand after in the third, as the New York Knicks at one point had like an 8-point lead. It dwindled as the Boston Celtics just continued to hit back-breaking three after back-breaking three. It was Jason Tatum's night. When the injury report came out late, it kind of stunned us all, caught us all by surprise. Guys, salute chat, salute replay squad, and let's talk about it. It surprised me. We didn't hear anything about RJ Barrett dealing with anything, but obviously, he woke up unwell or was unwell today with migraines. But nonetheless, we do miss RJ Barrett's production, but the New York Knicks were in this game. We just ran out of gas late. I see some comments here. Randle did okay tonight. Buzzer, salute. Salute Michael, Daniel, Geraldine, Will, Sharp Powers. And frustrating loss. I really hate Boston. Really want to pull this one out. Obviously, we would have gone 6 and 4 on the season and really would have set up the rest of this month. But back to 500, and we've got to get down to business in ATL, and we'll chop up the road ahead. We'll look around the league and what's happening after this, after we've chopped up the loss. But yeah, I thought the Knicks started quite positive. Randle and Brunson were aggressive. We're getting buckets. We're moving the ball. It's been a nice theme for the last 4 games. The ball movement's been solid. I think doing our best with Josh Hart, in the lineup with no RJ Barrett, your offense is going to miss a bit, more than a bit. If we're keeping it a buck, Josh Hart is a great defender. He's pesky. He gives you effort, but he's not RJ Barrett. So we're already coming in short-handed. And Hart made some heady plays like you see on the screen, which is absolutely crazy. But the theme was tonight, like the Knicks account saying, tough bucket, right? You can only get by for so long, for 48 minutes with tough buckets, And I'm proud of Randle and Brunson's effort for the most part tonight. They did what they could. But we'll talk a little bit more about Quentin Grimes, the DiVincenzo's, the Quickleys, and the Mitches tonight, because Hart can only give you so much without RJ, but you're going to need more offense out of one of these other guys, and Quickly didn't step up tonight. We didn't give us enough scoring on that end, more so, and Quentin Grimes also hit 3 threes in a row, which was pleasing in the third quarter. It was a crazy third quarter, which is really where we lost the momentum. You can rewind back to the end of the first half, the second quarter. It was a crazy end as the Boston Celtics leaked out and got a couple of easy, cheap buckets, which should never have happened. And that's been a little theme over the Tom Thibodeau regime. Mental lapses, they scrap so much that they run out of gas. And that's exactly what happened at the end of the second quarter. And a back-breaking 3 from Jaylen Brown made it 1 point. And it really felt like we should have been up 6 or 8 points at the end of the second. And I think, after that, Boston was making its run, and we battled. But at the end of the day, we came up short offensively tonight. Randle and Brunson gave us what they had, but we didn't get enough from the Quickleys, the Grimes, the DiVincenzos, and the Harts. Now, it was pleasing to see Grimes step up with those big threes, but what I'm looking for is more than that, in the absence of RJ Barrett. We are playing against, the second best team in the East right now, but many feel like the Celtics are the team to beat, and we'll see come playoff time. I think they are still a little mentally weak. The Boston Celtics. I mean, we didn't have RJ Barrett, and we took it to them for like 3.5 quarters. 98 to 114. That doesn't reflect the game tonight. I think we are back to back. We can't forget about that. The second leg, and we ran out of gas basically. But I tweeted something out during the game. Drew Holiday, gets a lot of credit for being a great defender, and he really is a great defender. But I think he gets away with a lot. Drew Holiday is extremely physical. He's able to maul you and just hand check you and do all sorts of things. And I don't know what he has on the refs, but he gets a lot of leniency. Leniency that other players don't get in terms of getting away with fouls. And that's why Julius Randle does get frustrated. He gets mauled. The one where Derek White, the huge call in the third quarter, which swung momentum. Julius Randle was hacked on the forearm, and the ball went out of bounds, and they challenged the call. Joe Mazzulla won that challenge smartly, and it was a tough call. They couldn't rule a foul there. They ruled out of bounds on Julius, but it was a foul. And that's why he's frustrated. So yeah, man, a lot to overcome. In Boston, we're going to be playing the refs. We're going to be playing, a deep squad. We need basically a perfect A game, and we came close for 3 quarters, but at the end of the day, it was kind of came up as a B game. We needed our A game, and we just needed some more guys to step up. We'll talk about it, and we'll look at the stats, shout people out. Salute to Replay Squad, salute to the chat live. The streets are buzzing. Smash that like button. And we're learning more about this squad. Fam, Drip more salute, a lot to learn. Bigs need the ball after switching. Great point, we'll talk about that. I got a lot of notes from today's game. It was hectic, man, it was back and forth. I thought at halftime too, Mitchell Robinson only had 2 points and 1 field goal attempt. And we got to get more creative, finding ways to get Mitch some buckets, especially without RJ. We've got to become more multi-dimensional. As good as Randle and Brunson can be, that can't be the only thing you go to, You can't just wear that down every time because it's so predictable. Mitch is rolling hard there, feed him the ball. I know it ends up with a Grimes 3, which was nice, but yeah, we got to get more creative, I think, offensively. You take the good and the bad with Josh Hart, guys, too. You substitute his defense and hustle. You lose RJ Barrett's offense. But, yeah, the guys were passing up some easy shots tonight, just making it a little more difficult on the Randles and Brunsons, I mean, who wants to be thrown a hot potato with 4 seconds remaining in the shot clock, and you need a bucket deep to stay in the game? You're not going to survive that way. You need to get good looks within the first 8 seconds or less, Talking about D'Antoni, 7 seconds or less. But no, realistically, I think the Knicks shot us almost as well as they could. Guys, we were shooting 41% at the end of the half. Better than that, we were 9 of 20 from 3 at the end of the half with only 2 turnovers. So the first half basically went as perfect as it could, outside of that, the clumsy end with the Julius Randle missed 3 and then the leak out, Jason Tatum dunk, and Jaylen Brown deep 3 to end the half, and that was just a sour taste as well. Gerard says Coach Combe over defense is trash. Hulu says RJ's absence was huge. Hope that his knee issues aren't serious. Unable to play in the back-to-backs is alarming, fam. Yeah, I don't think it was the knee, fam. But yeah, if it is, then I agree with you. But the reports were it was a migraine. So yeah, that's the report, fam. Migraines is the reason he was out tonight. But you could take it for whatever you want. That's what the Knicks were saying, migraine. Yeah, we're all susceptible to to the odd illness. But yeah, it was frustrating. Hopefully, it's nothing more than nothing less. with that, and we keep it moving, fam. We'll look at more highlights. We'll look at the scores, the stats. We'll give out grades. But yeah, I was kind of feeling like it was going to be a heroic Jalen Brunson night. It was set up for that, an amazing start. And Randle, giving him credit, had a pretty good first half. A very good first half. But in terms of that, the water was always going to run out at some point with the Boston's defense, and that this is where I reluctantly give credit to the Boston Celtics. I always give the opponents credit, but they are a good defensive team. You can't sidestep it. Boston are a good defensive team. They got Drew Holiday. Look, I said, who gets away with a little bit more than I think he deserves. He is able to be more physical than any other player in the league. If Jalen Brunson tried to press up on a guy like that, he'd get called for 2 fouls in a split second. And it's kind of like Draymond Green. We saw Draymond Green the other night. He gets away with more than other people as well. So I feel like, Drew Holiday's reputation does help him be a little more physical. Derek White, also, Maul and Julius Randle, he could have fouled out in this game easily. If we're calling every single ticky-tack foul, Derek White fouls out as well, in my opinion. But yeah, we're not here to blame the refs. This was a hard-fought game, a hard-fought loss, and we learned from it. We've faced Boston now 3 times in the span of preseason, opening night, and the 10th game of the season. That's crazy. So we've been seeing a lot of green, and hopefully we don't get to see them again for a long, long way down the line when we're healthy. RJ Barrett's back, and we're ready to make noise in the playoffs. Hopefully, fam. You guys keep spitting knowledge. Give me your thoughts on what happened, what took place. I really hate Boston. Frustrating. I really wanted to win this one. And the Knicks battled as well, which doesn't make it any easier. With that said, WG fam, what's good? Who misses the games because of a headache? It's called Advil. Yeah, man, I saw so many people react similarly on Twitter, and the frustration. I don't know for sure, but I'm going to speculate that it's maybe something more than that. I mean, you got to think RJ Barrett's able to press through, and he's shown that he can. Maybe it was just so severe. I mean, I've had severe migraines before, and it's not pleasant, but this is a big game, Not our best performance, Hulu says. We were outmanned, and underperformed. Later in the game, it was frustrating to not be in the game, like, down the stretch. That would have been, interesting. It hovered around, like, the 8, 9, 10 points. But, the credit to the Boston's offense. With Porzingis, it does give them a level of floor spacing that they've never had before. And if, on that note, if we rewind to last year's Celtics, we win. I think we probably win opening night, and we probably win tonight. I mean, talking about, the Drew Holiday, talking about able to get him, which was crazy, last-minute deal, able to get Porzingis. That's a hell of an upgrade over Marcus Smart and, and Al Horford. So, really the game's not necessarily won on the floor. Sometimes it's won in the front office. And the Boston Celtics upgraded this offseason, and we've seen it firsthand. The New York Knicks did upgrade themselves as well, stronger bench. That's one of the reasons we're able to, hang with good teams, without RJs, without, when we're undermanned. I think we've seen it before with Brunson out, quickly stepped up. But unfortunately, we just didn't get an Emmanuel Quickley game. We didn't get a DiVincenzo game tonight. I'll give shout out to Grimes. He came along late. Hit those big threes. So some pleasing signs. Hopefully Grimes is on the breakout. We really need him to give us those 12 to 15, 16 points a game. That's going to be excellent when RJ is back. Hit those threes, fam. We need it to stretch the floor out. But Encouraging signs for Juju. Michael says salute Juju. Salute to you. Salute Juju as well. And salute chat. But yeah, Randle looked pretty good in the first half. Was getting to the rim. Was hustling for those rebounds. The New York Knicks, to no surprise, were leading the rebound at halftime. But physically, we were working hard for every single play, every single bucket, and it was wearing down. So pleasing that Randle's ankle looks like it's getting better, and he's looking much closer to the Julius we know and love. When he's balling out, he was swinging the ball as well. A couple of excellent plays. Second, third passes, skip pass to the open three, and that was what was working for the New York Knicks, and that's why we had a lead at halftime. So look at the stats, man. Brunson, top scored for the Knicks, 26. Always going to give you, maximum effort, gets you buckets, draws charges. We'll look how many assists Brunson had tonight, but tonight really wasn't the game where he needed to swing the ball a lot. It was Randle that was swinging, but guys were passing up open shots as well, so that was tough. Like I said, man, we had to work really hard tonight for a bucket. And I got some things to make note later in the show about the Knicks getting more creative offensively in games like this. But what can you say about Jason Tatum? He had it going. One of the best tough shot makers in the NBA. It doesn't matter how deep you get into his grill, how physical you are. Sometimes you just tip your cap, to a player that can just hit shots, and carry a team. And it's kind of like what Brunson does for us, Randle does with tough shot making. But the difference is Jason Tatum does it more consistently, and he's 6'10", which it doesn't hurt to be that tall. You can shoot over anybody, or he's 6'9" or whatever he is, and he's got a beautiful high release as well. So the Knicks actually defended Tatum excellently in the first half. It was basically Hauser that was given him offense. It was Jaylen Brown on the switches, but Tatum was quiet in the first half. So I kind of felt like if the Knicks were able to win this game, it was because they were keeping him quiet. But he awoke, and started to rain threes later in the game. Hart was doing his best, man. He was physical, 9 rebounds. Josh Hart made some head scratching plays, and then some plays that you just kind of tip your cap as well. One of those head scratching plays was he runs the break. In a game where we're doing well, slowing the tempo, getting good half court looks. Josh Hart was running the break. He was like 1-on-3 or 1-on-4, and he misses the layup. That was costly. And the Celtics got the ball. Fast break down the other end, back breaking 3, and that was tough. And that was in the third quarter as well, when the momentum was swinging, fam, with that. And I thought that really, really hurt. Also, he hit a couple of open threes, but he did hesitate too, did Josh Hart. So, like I said, man, you take the good and the bad with Josh Hart. I've always said this, and I said this early in the preseason analysis. I said the right doses of Josh Hart, you get a winning formula. If you're forced to overplay a Josh Hart, you're forcing a square peg in a round hole. In terms of he should be used in smaller doses. In terms of offensively, it's gonna come back to hurt. But his hustle is great. He moves the ball. When he's hitting the open 3, you don't really hurt at all. You don't hurt too much, but at some point he's probably going to miss a couple of shots, and that's where it comes in, man. That's where it's tough. He's excellent with Quickly and with DiVincenzo off the bench, with Hartenstein, with RJ out, and you need Josh Hart to create some offense. You're gonna come unstuck at some point. But yeah, it is what it is, man. I love him. I love his hustle, his energy. Sometimes those fast break layups do give us momentum, but then when he misses, it's a backbreaker, unfortunately. Drew Holiday, he was quiet tonight offensively, 7 boards for the most for the Boston Celtics, 7 rebounds. So that tells us how well we rebounded. Julius got 5 assists. We'll talk about him, give out his grade, salute for the ball movement. Unfortunately, there was some over dribbling again from Julius. There was, plays late during the shot clock where he either held on too long, he dumped the ball to someone too late, and then he tried to dribble the ball up the floor, I think a little bit too much, which kind of would have gassed him out, I think, as well. The Celtics were forcing a lot of full court press, a lot of pressure, and that hurt, man. Again, they got great on-ball defenders, so it's tough, man. We really, really see how valuable RJ Barrett is for our ceiling, not necessarily just to win every game, but for us to be able to beat a Boston, for us to be able to beat a Philly, for us to be able to beat a good team on the road, like well, they're not good anymore, but the Pelicans, they look good at the beginning, but we had RJ Barrett, but that's also a big sign that RJ Barrett is here to stay, and he's a big part of this team and moving forward. Tatum with 7 assists, salute to him as well. He can do it all. So tough night. I want to give Mitchell Robinson a lot of props tonight because on a night where the box score won't really say much about Mitchell Robinson, but he was battling and he wasn't even getting any field goal attempts really. 33 minutes tonight for Mitch. 2 shot attempts. 2 shot attempts in 33 minutes from your starting center. And that's basically where I start analyzing, in terms of the Knicks trying to get more offense. I know he's not an offensive-minded player. He's not a guy who can generate any offense. He doesn't have a jump shot. But if you want to get good offense for 48 minutes and you have a guy on the floor for 33 minutes and he only has 2 shot attempts, that's tough. You're making things difficult. We got to find ways to get him more touches offensively. Pick and roll. When he's diving to the rim, do something. Throw it at him. Make the defense work. It was coming too easy. They can kind of pressure guys. And I think if Mitchell Robinson is able to force the issue down low, at least create a collapse, create a situation where the defense is second guessing, we got to do that, and I think Mitchell Robinson only getting 2 shot attempts was poor. Poor construction, poor offensive creativity, and we got to do better than that. The guy's busting his ass, pardon the language, for 33 minutes. He had 2 blocks, 6 rebounds, 3 offensive, and a steal and an assist. 4 points. I know he can't hit his free throws, which is sad. But like I said, 33 minutes, 2 shot attempts. That's on a night where you don't have RJ Barrett. You need a little bit of production from everyone else. And Brunson, 4 assists isn't really good enough either. On a night where we need scoring from him, but we also need to not be so predictable. 4 assists in 38 minutes is bad, for a starting point guard. I love his scoring and his tough shot making, but I'm just calling this out because this is the way I feel like we can do better. I've got a lot of these players in my fantasy team, and I do see other players around the league, what they're putting up, and we see role players that can get 4 assists in their sleep. So there's no excuse why a point guard for 38 minutes can't get you more than 4 assists either. We've got to be less predictable. But one of the best tough shot makers in the league. I've got to give Brunson his credit for that. We know he can hit tough shots. It's not about that. It's just about getting more guys involved and getting more multi-dimensional in terms of our offense. But yeah, in terms of not even being able to crack 100 was disappointing today. 98 points, fam, and we were 53 points at the half. So yeah, we couldn't crack 100 tonight. Disappointing, and that's also taking into consideration that the Knicks did not get a field goal in 5 minutes in the third quarter. 5 minutes throughout the third, the New York Knicks did not get a field goal, as highlighted by Mike Breen, as we know. So, throughout the broadcast, that was the swing quarter for the game for me. The third, it was back and forth. It was, like I said, a lot of poor play, but a lot of poor calls, physical defense. But yeah, we need better ball movement with that. You look at, we see Derek White with his hands all over Mitch there as well. As his shot goes up, you see he's grabbing Mitch by the front as well, trying to keep him off the glass with that one. But yeah, I'm really not into, like kind of admirable losses in terms of, I know we're playing one of the best teams in the league, but I feel like we can beat them. And I wanted to beat them tonight, badly. After the first preseason game and opening night, all the hype about KP, all the hype about Drew Holiday, etc. I really feel like, tonight we had a great chance. And I think we played a really good 2.5 quarters, but that's not enough. Guys, that's not enough to beat one of the best teams. Daryl Salute says, not making excuses, but you saw how bad we looked without RJ. Definitely. I don't think there's any need to really make excuses at all for tonight's loss. I think we're just not as good as a full-strength Boston team. With RJ, I feel like obviously things would be a lot closer down the stretch. But tonight, everyone kind of stepped up and played their role. I think there's just limitations in terms of what Hart can do offensively, and Grimes is, he's kind of a one-trick pony, if we're being real, with Quentin Grimes, and the ceiling is great, the defense is excellent, but offensively he's a one-trick pony right now in terms of he either puts the ball on the floor, puts his head down and drives and kicks, or it's a pull-up three. So I was hoping this year we'd see a little bit more shot creation from a Quentin Grimes. Now, it's still early in the season, and I think he's still going to have a big year, but I want to see a little more from Quentin Grimes in terms of shot creation and being able to do a little more than just driving, kicking, and shooting as well. Nights like this, without Quickly playing well and without RJ, we need a big a game from our starting shooting guard. He is the starting shooting guard of this team, with or without RJ. The ceiling of this year was always attached to Grimes and RJ, and which one of those guys were able to step up. Now, our ceiling has gone up big time with RJ Barrett now stepping up. Now, it would be lovely if Quentin Grimes can step up and help us, get to another level as well. How did you guys see Quentin Grimes' game? Also, Michael Salute, we make note that Evan Fournier was also out due to personal reasons. So, on a night where he could have come back to haunt his former team, which we know he loves to do, unfortunately, no RJ because of migraines, and no Evan Fournier due to personal reasons. So, I'm going to suspect that he didn't travel to Boston because of some other reason, fam. What's good, Shirley, in the chat? Salute. The person who was mad because RJ missed the game for a headache. Let me say, these days, you have to be very careful with head pain and chest pain. I didn't blame him for not playing. Yeah, appreciate your thoughts on that. I mean, it's always tough to say. We don't really know what people go through and what kind of pain they're feeling. I guess, each person's probably just using themselves as an example and saying, if I had a migraine, I would be able to play. Um, I think it might be a little something else as well as a migraine. We'll see. We'll see if we hear anything else. But yeah, RJ's shown in the past that he can, play hurt. He can fight through pain, etc. I think, and we talked about the schedule, and we'll continue to talk about it moving forward tonight. But I think the schedule's not been, been kind. Basically, I mean, how many back-to-backs have we had? This has been our third back-to-back, and it's only been our 10th game. So, let that sink in. We've had 3 back-to-backs, and we've only played 10 games. So that's crazy, really. 5-5. I sign up for that right now. So frustrating. We didn't win tonight, but I'm not too down, and I'm not worried moving forward right now. This was a big Hartenstein heave late. The bank is open for iHeart with that one. That it was plays like that I thought, what, tonight could be that night where we steal it. But it kind of sums up what the night was as well. It was a lot of Hail Mary. It was a lot of freakish plays to keep us in it. But we made it. We made a lot of them as well. If it wasn't for the Boston Celtics also clicking, if they kind of had a down night offensively, we could have capitalized as well. But yeah, it just shows how hard we got to work. Like I said, I made notes there. Hard buckets without RJ. Just disappointing. We couldn't crack 100, fam. Michael says also Bill Daughtry, his analysis is coming back to haunt us. CT Dante may not be enough. Great points. In terms of, I don't think Bill definitely doesn't want to be correct. He wants the Knicks to do great. He wants to thrive. I think, Bill did get some critique around, feeling like he was negative. Bill was just given his thoughts about him not being too excited about the off season, and thinking that the Knicks had, chances to improve more, but not taking away what Dante could do and provide. But yeah, he feels like we just need a little more. And I think his biggest area when we're looking at it is Mitchell Robinson, which is one of the first things that I commented on before. I think you kind of look at everyone's shot attempts and everyone's, attempt to get the scoreboard ticking up. And then you look at your starting center playing 33 minutes and only 2 shot attempts. Only got to the line twice later in the game when it was a hacker Mitch. So we've got to find more ways, better or worse. We've got to find more ways to get Mitchell Robinson more involved, whether it's getting him more downhill in the dribble handoffs, him putting the ball on the floor just to try to beat his man back door. We could talk about it for hours. Just find more ways to utilize him as a rim threat, a lob threat, setting hard screens, send a guy to the floor, and then roll hard. The guy's putting in amazing effort, work, hustling, and muscling on the glass, but yeah, sometimes he's just not getting rewarded, or most of the time, he's not getting enough touches. With that said, man, I think that's going to help our offense. Would you guys have signed up for 5-5 though? Let me put that out there right now. Everyone in the chat, replay squad, everyone, we are 5-5. If I asked you at the beginning of the season, would you sign up, knowing how tough the schedule is? I'm going to say maybe at least more than 50% would have said, I'll take it, 5-5. It's been a tough start, and for the most part, we've avoided injuries. I mean, there's been some freakish things here and there with Randle's ankle, with RJ missing tonight. But considering all these back-to-backs and all that ish, I think we're doing okay. I think the table is set now. I think that's the analogy I'm going to use. After the first 10 games, the table is set for this season now. Now all that's left is for us to eat. We just have to eat. The table is set now. We got to get everyone healthy, and hopefully RJ Barrett, those migraines, they'll be gone, and he'll be ready for ATL after a day's rest, fam. So I started talking about Mitch, so I'll give Mitch a grade. He was giving energy, he was hustling, 3 offensive boards, 6 rebounds, 2 blocks. I'll give Mitch a B plus for tonight. It's not always about scoring. He was giving effort. He was defending really well early on a lot of switches. He was trying to do a lot, making up for a lot as well. We know Boston's offense is 5 out. They stretch you out with 5 shooters, and a lot of that falls on Mitchell Robinson trying to guard the rim, also come out, also make up and try to recover and get a block. And I think Mitch was doing excellent defensively. He just wasn't getting enough touches. So I think Mitch a B plus for me tonight. That's my grade, fam. And next up, Josh Hart got the start in place of RJ. Huge minutes tonight on a back-to-back. Hart gave it his all. Was finished 6 of 12, 50%, and 3 of 6 from deep. And 1 of 2 from the line. 9 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, 4 fouls, 2 turnovers, 16 points, minus 10. So nothing that Josh Hart did tonight hurt us. Josh Hart is what he is, like I said, and he played a very good game in terms of made some mistakes at times, but like I said, you bring in that production, 50% from the field, 16 points off the bench, hit 50% from 3. Obviously, he got lucky with that play earlier we showed. 50% from the line, 9 rebounds. I mean, Josh Hart is that break glass in case of emergency dude, and he brought it tonight in 43 minutes. Unfortunately, like I said, when the offense is stalling and we need easier looks, he was a little too passive at times. I think he could have put up more shots, but it's not just on Hart when I say that. It's on everything. It's on the schemes. It's on other guys cutting, moving, all of that, and we'll talk about it more moving ahead. But I got to give Josh Hart also a look. He was really effective in terms of the box score. Like I said, made some back-breaking plays. But gives you everything. I've got to give Josh Hart a B plus as well. And that's, in terms of credit, because he could do a lot better for this team as well, given the efficiency he had. But in terms of 43 minutes, like I said, in terms of sample size, Josh Hart's not a guy I want to rely on that much, to help get you points. But he really couldn't have done much more than what he gave us tonight. Dirty salute in the chat. What's good? Barring injury, that team is just our kryptonite. I think, as I mentioned earlier, you may have missed it, but getting Porzingis and getting Drew, I think we lost to a team that maybe won in the front office. The front office won this game. The players win the games on the court. The front offices win for organizations. And I think Boston's off season was one of the best. I mean, the freakish nature of getting Drew Holiday after losing Smart, upgrading there, bringing in a guy like a Doogie Howser, shout out to Sam Hauser, and then Peyton Pritchard, bringing guys along, getting play out of Al Horford still, finding ways to integrate KP. I think they're tough. They're the team to beat. I think when it's all said and done, I think Philly's going to slow down a little. Although we got to talk about Tyrese Maxey coming up, but I think Boston's going to be still the team to beat later in the season. So 2 B pluses for Hart, for Mitch, Julius Randle. Now such a Julius Randle game tonight, which is what I mean by that, and I'll start by giving him the utmost credit in terms of physical dominance, getting to the rim, drawing the double and passing it, kicking it out. But then there was also the instances of I need to score here, and I'm going to hold on to the ball a little bit longer than I need to. So, Julius Randle, he's a physical dominant force on a night where RJ Barrett's out. I can't get on Randle tonight at all in terms of not moving the ball fast enough, because it's one of those nights where he was doing it for the most part. Got 5 assists, more than Brunson. Got 9 rebounds, just 4 fouls, 3 turnovers only. Shot 36%, little down on that, and 2 of 8 from 3. But looks like the ankle is getting better. It looks more stronger, getting up for the shots and rebounding quite well. Obviously, I said earlier in the show, I don't like him bringing the ball up. I didn't think that was necessary early. I think that was just probably taking more gas out of Randle's tank. So I think I would have used Quickly a lot more tonight if I was Tom Thibodeau. I know Quickly didn't have it going offensively, and we'll talk about Quick, but I feel like tonight was a game where when Brunson needed a breather, or both of them on the floor at the same time, I think Emmanuel Quickly could have played more than 25 minutes tonight. But at the expense of who? It probably would have been at the expense of Grimes or Hart. I know those numbers look decent for them, but in terms of playmaking, ball handling, we just needed more gravity. Emmanuel Quickly, the Boston Celtics NBA knows he does not hesitate. You see it. You see defenders close out on Quickly, knowing that he's a threat. They close out on Grimes too later in the game. But Josh Hart is not a guy that they really close out on. So with that said, Quickly can create a whole lot more for us offensively. And I think Quick should have played more minutes tonight than 25, on a night without RJ. And he was still getting to the line, got to the line 4 times and rebounded well. But back to Julius Randle's game. We always get sidetracked, but Julius, I don't think he could have done much more. This is Julius Randle for this team. Score, take advantage of your mismatch when you're on, and that's what he did, and pass the ball out. But sometimes holding onto the ball too long. So I'll give Randle a B+ as well for his game. 25 points, and was efficient from the line, 81%. Got to the line 11 times. Was unfortunate to lose the ball on that possession where he was fouled by Derek White. But yeah, man. Look, I still feel good about our chances moving ahead with Randle like this, Brunson and RJ, and I feel like we would have won tonight. So we keep it moving. Now, Quentin Grimes, talking about his game, it was quite interesting. Really quiet first half, and then came alive late with 3 3-pointers in the third quarter. Who would have thought? And Quentin Grimes came alive in a quarter we badly needed him to. As I mentioned, it's kind of weird that the New York Knicks were still in the game after the third, considering we didn't score a bucket for 5 minutes. We really needed those threes from Grimes. He stepped up. They came off some great passes, so the ball movement was good at that point. And no coincidence, those were catch and shoots, no hesitation, no need to dribble, drive, no need to think. Quentin Grimes, when he catches it and shoots, that's the sweet spot for us, for Quentin Grimes, and just being that flamethrower that we need. And I mentioned earlier, I want him to be able to do more with the ball when RJ Barrett's not in the lineup. But on a night like this, just catch and shoot it, man. And that's what he was doing late. Hit a couple of huge timely threes as well. Good for his confidence. It's got to feel good going 4 of 6 from the field, 12 points. But unfortunately, no rebounds for Q. 1 assist, 2 personal fouls. So kind of held his own end of the bargain for scoring, 28 minutes, but wasn't as physical, wasn't as prominent on the court today. Quentin Grimes, I'll give him a C plus for his effort. Obviously, those threes late really helped, but yeah, we just didn't see a whole lot from. I'm being a little bit more harsher on Quentin Grimes because I have really high hopes for him in terms of this team's ceiling and moving ahead. But I got a feeling early days, but I got a feeling that as his third year, we might have to wait a little longer. In terms of seeing his growth, like where RJ Barrett is at in his fifth year, Quentin Grimes is in his third year, and I think it's going to be a lot more of the same this year as it was last year. Dribble drive, catching and shooting, and swinging the ball out. But the defense is excellent. We need that. We'll see how he develops. Over the year, fam. Dirty says I was big on getting KP for free this off-season. I know it's bad for our cap. Yeah, I think that's the main reason a lot of Knick fans were in love with KP. To put it simply, I think not necessarily him or his personality, but he was dubbed the unicorn for a reason. And before we get carried away with Victor Wembanyama, and obviously he can do a lot more with the ball and move at a bigger size than KP. But one of the reasons why the league loves KP is because he's just efficient, and he can shoot from way out there. He can dunk it. He can rim run. And he's just a talented player. Definitely very talented. It was a big time pickup. It was never about his ability. It was always about, could KP be healthy? And so far he has been. But yeah, I dub our own kind of unicorn right now. Mitchell Robinson was doing a great job. I think moving as a heavier guy that rebounds way better than a guy like KP or Wemby. Obviously no offensive game, but the way Mitch moves for us and does the things that we need, he is a mini unicorn of his own as well. For a guy that just runs hard up and down and doesn't get any touches, I think it takes a certain player to be able to cope with that, But yeah, Q dot C plus. Jalen Brunson now 38 minutes. Did his best Brunson impression early. Was hitting shots. Was chippy. Was physical. Was driving. Floater game was on point. We're really starting to see Jalen Brunson's offensive touch back from last year come back, and that's we can breathe a sigh of relief. Kind of from early in the season, it was like what the hell is this? We're looking at a Dollar Tree version of Jalen Brunson, a wished version of Jalen Brunson, but the real Jalen Brunson has returned, thankfully. Offensively, the 3-point shot is just wet. 4 of 6, 3 of 7. Tonight, obviously, he had to carry more of a load. I got on Brunson at the very beginning of the show for his assists. I think 4 assists. I know guys were passing up shots and things like that, but I think over 4 quarters, 38 minutes, I think it's not as difficult as it looks to get 4 assists. He was just more in a shot creation mode tonight, and 26 big ones, 2 turnovers. I think Brunson handled himself great on a back-to-back. He just could have got more assists up, but I think he defended with a lot of effort. He definitely really wanted us to win this game badly, maybe more than anyone. You could see his reactions on the floor, and just how frustrated he was at times, how pumped up he was. He came to the New York Knicks not just because of his dad, not because of just money. He came to the New York Knicks because he really wants to win, and you could see it with Jalen Brunson. Every play, every time out there, he takes he puts his body on the line, and he takes scratches to the face. Tonight, I think he took like five 5 hits to the face. And he plays the right way. He plays physical. He never backs down. And if we win tonight, if we win multiple chips, or we win multiple playoff rounds, it's going to be because of Jalen Brunson as well as the rest of the guys. But I think he really is a guy that leaves it all out there. That's what I admire the most about Brunson. For all his shortcomings, he's gonna leave it all out there, and he gave it what he had tonight. In a back-to-back as well. So for that, I'm gonna give Brunson a B plus for his effort as well. Scoring, he's done it before. Wasn't able to do a little more of the assisting, which would have got him an A. Now, Emmanuel Quickly, quiet night, 1 of 10, 1 of 2 from deep, which was surprising. Only 2 shot attempts from Quick. Went 4 of 4 from the line. 6 rebounds, though, which was good. 7 points, not good. Quiet night for Quick. I know, he wasn't efficient, so Tibbs did roll with J Hart. Tonight it just sucks, basically, that we didn't get a huge Quick game. Like from last year, we know that was the game that really put him on the map, for a lot of people, as worthy of an NBA starter. And I think Quickly is still working through parts of his game, being more consistent with your body of work is the next step, I think, for Emmanuel Quickly. No one doubts that he can put up 40 a night. No one doubts that he can take a game over by the scruff of its neck in a span of 2 minutes. The next step in Quickly's game is consistency. It's about knowing what your role is, like he does. And tonight we needed a more production. It's just more consistency. 1 of 10 tonight. I always give credit again to Boston, their defense. They did a good job slowing him down. They did stop penetration quite a few times. I think at times where Quickly does run into trouble, it's when he hesitates. He does wait a couple split seconds too long. He gets caught into 2 minds in terms of what do I do with the ball, etc. So I think Quickly's a guy that just needs to play on instinct. If the shot's going in or it's not going in, don't hesitate. Just do what you do. Let it fly. And I think he's just going to continue to grow. He's going to become a starter in this league. I don't doubt it. The next step is just consistency. Dirty says, for whatever flaws RJ had, being aggressive and self-belief is necessarily skill to be anything but a role player. I'm not really interested in any excuses about RJ being out. They're just flat out better than us right now. Yeah, even with RJ, we definitely could have lost the game. I think the frustrating thing is, for fans, is the upward trajectory that RJ's on right now in this big game, and we get hyped up, we get emotional about our chances. But I think the real ball we know comes towards the end of the year, and I think as long as everyone's ready to go healthy, we'll see the best of this team. Michael says, yes, I was also the Knicks front office should try harder this offseason to acquire KP. CT, what do you think? It's tough to say how they were thinking, how they were approaching it, fam. But if I was approaching it, I always approach it like this. I look at fit and I look at team's need. And then obviously the money comes into it as well. KP on the record, was interested in becoming a New York Knick. But I think the money was quite a lot in terms of what he was asking for. And I think the Knicks want to keep some of that available for what's to come. And I think the fact that Mitch is giving, the production he's giving us on his contract, I think it was a little bit more easier decision for the front office, fam, in trying to keep that money. But he's got to prove that he can stay healthy long term. Not many doubts over Kristaps Porzingis. and his health. It's in terms of his game. It's about health as well. So, and he didn't even torch us as much as he did in the first game. So, the real nemesis on this Celtics team is Jason Tatum. Yeah, it always has been, always will be. Right, that guy, the amount of shots that he hits at the right time to break your back. Right, I'm gonna wake up with nightmares about it, because every time Boston seem to need a bucket, Jason Tatum just swishes it. Doesn't matter if you foul him or you're in his face or whatever it is. The guy is just an outstanding, difficult shot maker as well. You can even foul him and he'll still get it in. So he is an MVP candidate. Make no mistake about it. In this league, obviously to shut him down, you probably need to respect him and bring a double. Boston are easy. They can scramble and they can create good schemes. So can Miami. We need to learn how to be able to slow down the best players, and take the ball out of their hands. If we took the ball out of Jason Tatum's hand, we're forcing Drew Holiday to make a shot. We're forcing Jaylen Brown to throw up a brick. We're forcing a KP to hit a shot as well. So, yeah, that's my thoughts about the way Boston's set up, fam. But back to Emmanuel quickly, man. He has to get a D tonight. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. 7 points in 25 minutes with just no assists. So 1 assist, 6 rebounds. We needed more scoring from Quick, and that's his role. Now Dante, 16 minutes, went 2 of 6, 1 of 4 from 3, 5 points as well. Dante gets a D for me as well, because again, the bench is our strength. We needed extra offense, tonight, on a night where we know we're short-handed. Salute buzzer. Yeah, we needed RJ tonight, but we needed RJ's ability to pull the defense in, and give us some more easier buckets. See, the underrated thing about RJ Barrett is he breaks down the defense, but he gets to the line as well. And you can be in situations where you're not shooting it well, but you can force the issue. You can get to the line, and he gets to the line or gets to the rim better than Brunson and better than Randle. He doesn't always get the right foul call, but he definitely does the best job at getting to the line, I think. So that's going to keep the defense more honest, I think. They don't really have huge physical bigs. They got Al Horford, and they got Kristaps, who you kind of know you can get into foul trouble, with Kristaps when you take it to him. And I think that's one of the main areas where we missed RJ today. So, yeah, we kind of know why we lost now. When we're going through these grades, we know Quickly can score, DiVincenzo, but 2 Ds, man, double Ds for Quickly and double D. Unfortunate. It might be a bit to do with the back-to-back. These guys just didn't have the legs. We know it's tough to travel. Second game of a back-to-back, which is on the road. Not making excuses, but yeah, these guys are going to be consistent for us to pull off win streaks, I think. And then we got iHeart, who basically played 14 minutes. Kind of surprising he didn't get more burn, with Mitch playing hard, breathing hard with 33 minutes. But iHeart was 1 of 1 from 3 with a heave, 1 of 2 from the field, and 3 points, 3 rebounds. He'll get a C. iHeart. Not much sample size, but yeah, we didn't get the best of iHeart tonight either. So, and then we saw Miles McBride, Jericho Sims get in for garbage time, fam. So yeah, appreciate everyone for rocking out. The chat live, salute. Streets are buzzing. We're smashing that like button as the Knicks are 5-5 on the season, and I'll sign up for that right now. I would have loved to get that 6-4 as we look at the road ahead, and we'll just briefly look at what's happening around the league, and we'll get ready for ATL, because I feel good about the rest of this month. Still, I know tonight, if we're going to lose one, tonight was that one that we were going to lose, shorthanded on the road. But I think now we take our suitcase, our lunch pail, and we go to Atlanta, who have been a decent team to start the year, had some big wins. We'll check out how they're doing on the standings, but that's a very, very winnable game. Some say a must win, some say a should win, but you can't take anyone lightly. It's a very, very winnable game. And then, of course, the second game of the NBA Cup in-season tournament against Washington. And then, yeah, basically we're looking at our fourth back-to-back in this Washington Charlotte of the season, which is crazy. It really is to think that that the NBA is doing that to us. But that's why I said I would sign up for 5-5. You got to take everything into stock. And the New York Knicks are well positioned to go on a run here. We just got to take no prisoners and beat these average teams. Fam. Buzzer says, I give them some slack due to the back-to-back, but they are all pros. Brunson should have taken over. Look, with that one, he was, no doubt, I think he was gassed as well. But I think the size, we're seeing Brunson get limited against physical defenses as well. Dirty says, RJ last year was heating up and then got super sick. Hopefully it's not a repeat of last year. Yeah, I think, these young kids, they're I still call him a kid, but RJ is active, probably in his off-court life, I think he's got a, nice partner. He's got, activities that he's got, endorsements, a lot of things, New York City. We in a day where Zion Williamson is in the news again for all the same reasons. I think I'll take RJ Barrett right now, all day, every day. These little illnesses creep up. We remember Tyson Chandler, or kept missing games with the flu game. But this isn't the same situation. I think RJ Barrett does play when he's usually hurt, if he can play. Now he probably felt like he was hurting the team. Maybe he put his hand up and said, "I can play physically, but my head's spinning. I can't process what's happening. I can't see the rim." And for anyone who's suffered acute migraines, when the lights are shining, literally when the lights are bright, you can't focus properly as well. So it may have served us no purpose with him playing anyway. We don't know. Maybe he was inefficient, and then everyone gets on him. So when you play, you're open to criticism. With that said, so I'm okay with RJ Barrett sitting out tonight, but I'm looking at these other guys. Like Johnny says, what's wrong with Quickly? Inconsistent at the moment tonight. But he's been on a great streak. So again, I don't know what it is in terms of, maybe it's the second leg of the back-to-back. These guys couldn't get in the rhythm. I think I always want to give credit to the opponent first, because the defense, that they did well stopping and slowing him down, and making things uncomfortable. And that's what people do. They read the scouting report. On a night where, the Knicks offense is predictable. The personnel around the league knows who's good on the New York Knicks. Right? They know where the shots are coming from. And Emmanuel Quickly is a force that you need to game plan for, to have a chance to stop him, coming off the bench and scoring. So I think the Boston Celtics did well, but Quickly shot inefficient. He's got to be better. He's got to force the way to get his way to the line, or get others involved. I think for the next step in his evolution, fam. So there was only 4 games today as we wrap up and we get ready. We look at the standings. So firstly, the Knicks loss today heads them to 5-5 now, down to 9 on the table, tied with Brooklyn in 8th, 5-5 as well. The Raptors are 5-5. The Cleveland Cavaliers are down to 11 at 4-5, and then you got the Bulls, Hornets, Wizards, and Pistons. The Orlando Magic are 5-4 in 7th. Atlanta coming in at 6th at 5-4 as well. And then the Bucks in 5th, 6-4, with the Heat 4th, 6-4, and the Pacers in 3rd. So, I mean, early days, we're 1 game from 3rd right now, from the Pacers. So, really early days to evaluate the standings. I really don't like looking at the standings this early, because we're seeing teams fall and rise so quickly with a couple of losses, a couple of wins, and I think things are going to even out. But I am surprised that the Heat are on such a tear. So we'll see how that can last. Right now, the Bucks beat the Bulls tonight. So the Bulls, I think they're the number 1 candidate to have to blow it up. I think DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, and Vooch, I think by the trade deadline, that's going to be no longer. The Knicks go down, and then the Raptors beat the Wizards tonight. That's not an impressive win. And then the Kings are up 68-60 on the Cleveland Cavaliers right now. So looking at the rest of the week, doing my predictions now. ATL, I'm going to say that's a win. Washington, a win. And I'm going to say Charlotte is a win as well. So we've got to end this thing on a positive note. And I'd love to get your win predictions on that one as well. But I can't think any other way. I can't think that the Knicks are going to drop any of these 3 games coming up. We took care of Atlanta already on the road, and I think it's an excellent chance to win the season series and and bring them back down to earth. A team that has been a nemesis of the New York Knicks in the past. So we beat Atlanta. We definitely beat Washington. We owe them. And then Charlotte, I think, it'll be a repeat of what we did at MSG. So that would take us to 8-5, which would be excellent. And then things get a little tougher with Minnesota on the road, and then a little break, 3 days, and then Miami at home in the third in-season tournament game, fam. So yeah, Buzzer, let's go. Buzzer's hyped and feels like the Knicks will get those 3 as well. So salute. Looks like the comment's not loading up, but I'll shout you out regardless, fam. Michael says, CT next 3 games. Knicks are also going. Yep. Getting those 3 of 3. Yep. So yeah, the chat's feeling optimistic about the next 3. Atlanta's going to be the most difficult game, especially, them wanting to get revenge. We can't discount that. But the New York Knicks pound for pound, I think, will be too strong. Should be too strong for Atlanta, especially with a rest day coming up now. So, and yeah, Dirty says Trey sucks against us as well since that playoff series. Yeah, maybe there's been a hex put on him, fam. He started feeling himself, and started believing in his hype. But Atlanta, they're doing decent. Where are they again? They're 6th or 7th. I think 6th, yeah. They're in 6th, but, they're only half a game above us. So with a win, that'll swing, and the New York Knicks will then, get to climb up. But, it's such a close, a tied race at the moment with 7th down to, 11. So the New York Knicks with a couple wins will climb all the way up. And then I think the Heat in 4th, if they lose a couple, they'll fall back down. But what might be more sustainable is the Indiana Pacers are setting the pace early, looking excellent. Tyrese Halliburton for most improved. Look out for them. Orlando, sneaky good team, 5-4. They're the same. They're above us. Look out for them. We're just kind of a little fortunate still that there's some bad teams. Talking about Detroit's, talking about the Wiz, the Hornets, the Bulls. We haven't, the Cavs we could have beat. The Raptors is going to be a nice, interesting game. I think we beat them at home. We don't know how we look in the six, but I think at home we take care of them. The Brooklyn games are going to be fun coming up. They're lacking some offensive firepower, but they've got some depth. Ben Simmons is out right now, banged up, and then you got Orlando, Atlanta, coming up. Milwaukee, Boston. Milwaukee's looking a little shaky with Dame early. Defensively, they're not great. I think at this stage, I think the New York Knicks proved that they could beat them. So yeah, I'm not worried about any team. Philly, of course, who's top. Tyrese Maxey. Talk about addition by subtraction. Now James Harden, 0-5 out there in LA. Yeah, man, that could be a sneaky top candidate for something to happen at trade deadline, man. We know how desperate teams get. They might not break up any of the core four, but they've got guys like Bones Highland, Norm Powell, PJ Tucker, Terrence Mann. They've got other pieces that they might just have to do something, man, because it's going to be interesting. Nick Nurse was also addition by subtraction. 100% agree with Dirty Dancer with that one. We just need Dallas to come back down. I fully agree with you on that, but I think they will. I really do. And I'd love to get your thoughts on Zion. The big talking point today was, a situation where Zion Williamson, in a post-game press conference, looked far from happy. I'm no body language reading expert, but the Pelicans are 4-6. They're not doing well, but they're not exactly, they're not exactly awful either. They're just meh, and it's beyond time for them to be meh. They need to be pressing for. You're paying Zion 200 plus milli, per year, and you're hoping to see results. There's the motivation issues, there's the health concerns, there's the big payday, there's some people saying attitude concerns now with Zion. I think it's just time for a breakup. I'm not saying New York Knicks, but I'm saying the Pelicans and him. He probably just needs to find himself in a new market. Try to get more invigorated. I don't know what it is. He's obviously he can't duck that salary that he's earning now. Whichever team were to look at getting him, they'll have to look at him as a big option. As a main option with that salary. He looked excellent against us, taking advantage of Julius and getting to the rim with his athleticism. But lo and behold, he's come back down, or the team has come back down to earth. So, I think the Pelicans are in trouble this year. I think out of this year, it was always going to be Minnesota or the Pelicans in terms of teams that are under pressure to achieve. But both teams, in my eyes, suspect. And I think to the T-Wolves' credit, they're achieving, and the Pelicans are underachieving right now. And a large part of that is because of their depth. They're paying Zion a lot. They've got Brandon Ingram, C.J. McCollum. I don't know what else they can do in the West. Really, it's tough when you talk about the Clippers and them not being able to do anything. I think that's crazy. Dirty says, I would consider doing the deal with Randle and IQ for Zion and Herb Jones, or maybe Dyson instead of Herb. So you're kind of more thinking that it's addition by Zion, or you're more wanting to get out of Randle. What's the way you're looking at it the most? Uh, and also, do you believe it's going to be Zion is going to be, improved in a new environment, like, getting with maybe RJ Barrett, getting in New York City? I think I agree with that. Like, I think something needs to change with Zion, in that environment. He wasn't feeling New Orleans from the beginning. We saw his reaction, on draft night. He wanted to be somewhere else. I feel so, and I feel like something will happen. Something has to give. You can't keep paying Zion that money and the situation not result into winning. And I'm not just blaming him, but yeah, he's a part of that as well. Maybe he's just not the number one guy. He's been asked to be the number one, number two guy. Maybe Zion Williamson with RJ Barrett, All-Star, and Jalen Brunson or Randle, whoever it is. Maybe with two other big guys. Maybe that's the best thing. To take more pressure off of him. I think it's a dicey situation in New York unless he's super focused. But the talent, you can't ignore the potential. Talk about a guy who's a jump shot away from being, all perennial MVP candidate, even all NBA. But yeah, the health, he can't do it for long enough so far. For 45 mil, Zion is locked up, but Randle will want 60 in the future coming up in the next deal. That's an interesting point, a very good point about the money. How many more years on Zion's deal? Is it 3 or 4 or less? I think fit-wise, I think the way RJ Barrett does bully to the rim, I still would have concerns over the fit. But in terms of talent-wise, I think it's very, very plausible to make it work. And you think Zion's ceiling, when you're looking at it like that, being a potential top 5 player in the league, and it's something that Randle can't reach, being a top 5 player in the league. Yet there's valid arguments both sides. In terms of Randle, we know the limitations, but there's also the concerns with Zion's health and motivation as well. So yeah, it's something to think about. It really is something to monitor moving forward. And how this team does, how this Knicks team looks moving ahead. I don't really feel like there'll be a dramatic big move this year. I think the Knicks have enough, provided the record and the wins keep coming along. I think the New York Knicks will comfortably get through to the 4th, 5th seed and get this playoff run. But then in the off season, I think it will be the time to make reflections on where we're going. And who's balled out, who looks like a keeper, after the playoffs, all of that. I know also Mark Berman, Stir the Pot, talked about things that he heard over the off-season, and, keeps bringing up Zion as, what he's heard, and his desire to want to get out of there and being a CAA guy. I think the whole league is kind of feeling the same. I think he's just saying what everybody's thinking. You talk about guys like Brian Windhorst, national media guys. I think that they're all thinking the same thing, and they'll continue to start saying the same thing if the Pelicans don't rectify things this year. Now Zion is playing games, so yeah, he does still look a little overweight, but he is playing. So we'll see. If he can play 65 games this year would be huge. And I also feel like it's a big rest of the year for Julius Randle, in terms of the playoffs and how things look. Moving forward, like I said, I think things will be a lot clearer in the off season. I'll be more surprised if the Knicks have made a big move at the deadline. I think it'll be one of two things. It'll be the Knicks have just hit a bad skid and we're dramatically under 500. Like we're we're 7-8 games below 500 for the New York Knicks to make a big move at the deadline, or a deal just comes up out of nowhere that it's just pull the trigger now, or for forever miss out. And I think the Knicks will look at it. But outside of that, I think if we're on track and things are looking trending upwards, I do think that the New York Knicks won't make any major move until the off season. But of course, sometimes you never know about the NBA, man. The issue does force itself sometimes when you're talking about a talent like Zion or a Cat or a Levine or something like that. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. But man, frustrating loss. But 5-5, nothing to hang our heads, with this crazy schedule. I'm more disappointed with the start of the year in terms of the challenge, the schedule. We're beaten on bad teams, and we've won the games that we really say, okay, we really should win. And you can't get angry with some of these losses. Tonight they had our measure, but we fought, we battled, and we move on to ATL. We got to bring it. No letdown game, and I think we'll get the next 3, ladies and gents. So yeah, as we get ready to wrap this thing up, fam, I appreciate you all in the chat, replay squad, everyone out here, Knicks Nation. Definitely, it's been an interesting start of the year. 10 games down. This team is where it needs to be. I'm not really surprised or shocked by anything. But RJ Barrett's growth has been the most pleasing thing, no doubt about it. He'll bounce back, and he'll be back from this short-term minor illness that's reported. Hopefully he's on the road in ATL, and they're just resting him. And with him, we're dangerous. We can beat anyone. And I'm ready for us to get on another streak and get this road trip buzzing in ATL, Washington, Charlotte, Minnesota. And then the schedule really does start to get more favorable in terms of rest as well. So appreciate everyone out here rocking out. Stay blessed, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.